I think we're basically the same age. I'm 23, you're 22, question mark. Um, I think both of us have probably spent a lot of our lives on the internet at a younger age than maybe we should have been, and it's been like constant force in our lives. Do you think like our brains are cooked and it's over for us, or are there any positives out of our experiences in the online world?
I mean, honest to God, people aren't gonna like hearing it. We're fucking cooked. But I think that's also something that's helpful for our audience to hear because if you're a part of our audience, you're cooked too. Yeah, and the first step to, I guess, becoming a preservative or a non-perishable canned good is to understand that you have been cooked, and then you can like soak yourself in vinegar for like, however many years, and stay in a cellar.
Hmm.
Uh, totally. I think that, and I mean, something so refreshing that I really look for in pals and especially like YouTube colleagues, people like you, is this sense that we no longer give a fuck about the internet.
Hmm.
We've reached the other side. If horseshoe theory were real and like not giving a fuck about the internet and giving way too much of a fuck about the internet, we finally made the hop back to not giving a fuck about the internet. Um, so much of what happens on the internet, discourse related, um, politics related, it's like so profoundly useless and like only stressful, it's
Hmm.
only stressful and it only serves to make people unhappy and tense and antagonistic towards others. And having grown up my entire life, I guess ages 6 to 22 now, watching YouTube, using social media, it's very easy to forget that like all this shit is stupid and it doesn't matter. But it totally is stupid. And we're cooked. But the second that we realize when you sit down to watch, oh, my favorite creator got exposed for using the R slur when they were in sophomore year of high school. Shrug it off, man. They're gay now. Like, I don't know what to tell. It's just one of those things where I do feel that because of woke, uh, I don't know, just a lot of the way that we engage with thought and discourse on the internet has become totally poisoned by a relatively small amount of bad actors who have poisoned the well in perpetuity for the rest of time. It really is like fucking the Black Book of Communism or like Thomas Sowell, where it's like 100 years later, people are like, "Oh, but 100 million people are dying in Venezuela," and it's like, brother, if 55 years ago McCarthy had just shut the fuck up, we wouldn't have to deal with this now. But because 10 years ago, James Charles got canceled for tweeting an Ebola joke on his way to Africa, like now discourse is poisoned forever, and it's like, how can we not escape the shadow of like we stand on the shoulders of pygmies, I don't know, of Lilliputians. It's a I don't know. It's just sort of a core realization and maybe something that comes from sort of like me understanding what actually like a historically materialist view is and how it factors into my own life. Looking at discourse every day and being like, we did this already. Like it happened in a different shade and a different font. They're all the same things that we talk about every single day. I'm so glad that we can have another conversation about the innate classism of making fun of Samsungs. Let's move on. Like it's I've moved on from being cynical about that to sort of taking joy in the fact that I think more and more people are going to begin to understand that. But it definitely feels nowadays as though the more dominant discourse is slightly more productive than it was 4 years ago.
Yes, I sometimes when I see something that makes me angry on Twitter, I always if it's I click the profile and then oftentimes they're just 17 and I'm like, okay, we're fine.
Many such cases. I had one of those where it was like somebody tweeted out being like, if you like this album, I genuinely think you might like be a murder or something like just the dumbest thing. And I was like, that's fucking stupid. Who said that? 16. I was like, we're moving on. Like that's gonna get the quickest scroll of all time from me.
Exactly.
And it's so beautiful also watching more people. become annoyed at the format of dunking on 17-year-olds or people who don't know what they're talking about. Like, we're slowly carving the stupid stuff out of the dialogue, and that's nice to me.
At least on our corner of the internet, hopefully. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It is
because there's
all
lots of TikToks out there. Who knows what they're saying in their little bubbles
that's
of
true.
15-year-olds.
I deleted TikTok like 2 weeks ago and I haven't been on since, so it could have gotten 15 times worse as I've been gone. It's unclear.
TikTok is very destructive, or it can be very destructive to my life. Like I literally, if it's 10 p.m. and I'm like bored and I need something, it literally feels like I'm about to do drugs. I'm like, all right, it's 10 p.m. I'm about to lose 2 hours of time. I'm just gonna waste my life away right now because that's what I need. Um, I've been reading this book, which I've mentioned in like literally every conversation I've had. Um, it's called Testo Junkie, and it's about like the new capitalist, I don't know, regime of of how like the industry moves in today's society, and that the what kind of moves our economy is not production or even
Call me
finance.
Preciado.
Yes.
Monster, speak from
Yeah,
the.
the speak monster.
I know this one.
Yeah, yeah, preciado.
Yeah.
But like the thing that moves our economy is the orgasmic force, as they say, the dopamine in our minds, our pleasure receptors, our desires. It's not dollars directly. And for me, TikTok is this. It's the epitome of that. For me, TikTok is literally porn. It has the structure of pornography, but for whatever dopamine or content part of our brain. Because like when I watch it, TikTok, time disappears. I don't get anything out of it. I don't get any fulfillment. Or when I'm scrolling on Twitter, I can literally just feel the chemicals in my brain firing for like 5 seconds every few times that I scroll, and there's nothing happening. I'm not developing as a human being. I'm purely having the reaction of like doing drugs or watching porn.
Hmm. 110% correct. Like to me, there's also been sort of like this stasis I feel around that very concept because one, people enjoy feeling good and having whatever dopamine releases they can have. And
Yeah.
also there have been some very convenient, recontextualizations of these very things. To me, like the orgasmic pulse or whatever, that the response you know, can be applied to so many things.
Hmm.
We talk about retail therapy. Retail therapy is not in any way an actual thing. It is using constant purchases to get that dopamine release because
Yeah.
that's how purchases have been, positioned.
Hmm.
You're supposed to want to buy something and you're supposed to think about it all the time and see it in ads. And then you go out and buy it and then you get the box and you get this nice unboxing process and you have it and it's new and it's shiny. And there are so many individual steps in that that are like, oh, wow, amazing, like dopamine rush. And it even has like the build up tension release, where it's like,
Hmm.
you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I really want this thing. And then you have the mini release where you're like, fine, I'll buy it. And then you have to wait for it to arrive in the mail. And then it comes and there's a little package and there's another mini release when you see the package. And then you open it and then you get to open another thing. And there are all these fun colors in the packaging because, you know, uh, you can't do no frills packaging. You have to have like 16 boxes inside of smaller boxes, all of which have, nice cyber sigilism, like trendy package design, and it's like matte Apple, like designed in Cupertino, and
Hmm.
Y2K aesthetic stars, and then and it's like, oh, it's so nice. It's really heavy plastic that they package this in. It's high quality. So many tiny things that are made to just make us have these little cycles of build, release, build, release, build, release to generate these good feelings, and then
Hmm.
you know the very same people who give into these things every day are walking around being like, why the fuck are people addicted to drugs? Just like get better. It's like, bro, show me the screen time right now. I know you're not talking. Ugh.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like, am I contributing to this by being a content creator? Am I just giving people the chemical dopamine for a few seconds, or am I actually putting something out in the world and YouTube is just the platform on which I put it out? It's hard to reckon with that and to try to make, because at the same time, it's my job for people to engage and to click things and to be entertained. But on the other hand, I feel like if even though I don't believe in like morality that exists outside of human constructs, like I feel like that is TikTok scrolling is the closest to actual evil in humanity, like negative dark energy that you can possibly get to.
I am you and me, man. We're locked in. This is I think I don't remember if I did respond say this literally on stream a while back, but I was talking about TikTok. I was talking about something very related to the exact forces you're talking about right now. And I said, like, that's just like straight up evil. That's like the darkest, most malignant tumor on the soul of mankind.